Right, okay, students. So we are going to start the paper discussion, uh, the paper clinic for transportation and logistic lesson. And we have done all our theory parts relevant to this lesson. And so we are going to discuss how it has been tested at the exam. Just review how it has been tested at the exam. Clear, Nella? Right, okay. So before we move to the questions, we'll have a look on how it has been tested in each and every year from 2015 to 2025. Clear that? Right now you can see in some uh, exams or some years it has been tested for 4 marks, 5 marks, 6 marks. That is the average that has been tested. If we take the average level, how many marks you will be able to collect from this lesson? It's almost around 4 marks, 5 marks, 6 marks. This is the average level. But you can see in some situations it has been tested over 10 marks even. The amount of 2022 wala 2025 wala has been tested nearly 10 marks. 10 marks වලට විතර ළමයි ටෙස්ට් කරලා තියෙනවා. Clear? So it is a clue that you should not skip this lesson. This is a very easy lesson, very simple lesson. Nothing much theories to memorize. Almost very few things you have to remember. But you can collect around nearly 6 marks each and every year. Clear නේද ළමයි? එතකොට වාට මේකෙන් ලකුණු 6ක් 5ක් ගන්නවා කියන එක නම් ළමයි nothing. Theory එකත් මහා ලොකු දෙයක් නෑ ළමයි. Within 1 hour you can study everything relevant to this lesson. Similar to the communication lesson what we did before. Communication lesson එක වගේමයි ළමයි මොනවත් මේකේ theories නෑ නේ. You very simple නේද? Yes, I think මේකේ but you can collect around 4-5 marks, even 6 marks averagely you can collect. Clear, am I right? Okay. So we will move with the questions. I have sent you the tunes to your groups, so you can refer the tunes, or if not, you can get it from the board as well. Right. So, right. So we'll move to the questions. Right. Okay, so the first question, it's about, this has been tested in 2015. A question is asking, explain the various changes that could take place in the business sector due to the development of highway network. පුතා මෙතන highway network එක කියලා mean කරන්නේ expressways. Clear? So what are the changes we can see? Right. First of all, I think මේවා ළමයි sometimes you may think, sir, is this theory? No, actually it is not theory. That's why when I am teaching you the theory, when I was teaching you the theory, I told you several times, the general knowledge is much required for this communication as well as for this transportation lesson, because the changes which are happening in the country could be come as a question at the exam. එතකොට මේ මයිකයි මම අර transport lesson එක අපි කරනකොටත් ඒකේ අලුත් updates වගේ ඉගෙනනවා මතකද theory එකේ. අන්නේ ඒව බලන්න. ඒවා theoryම නෙමෙයි. ඒවා theory එකේ නෑ. That has not been mentioned in our teaching guide or the theory books. But the changes that are happening in the country are usually tested for these kinds of lessons. මේ වගේ lessons වල පුතා මේ වෙන අර අලුත් updates වෙන ඒවා check කරනවා. ඉතින් මේ දවස්වල මේ 2015 වල තිබිච්ච අප්ඩේට් එකක් තමයි අහලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒතර highways ආවා අලුතනේ ඔය කාලේ 2020 2012 13 14 තමයි expressways ලංකාවට මේ build කරේනේ construct කරපු years. ඒතර ඒ දවස්වල තිබිච්ච question එකක් තමයි මේ අහලා තියෙන්නේ. So this not question may not be tested now, but this kind of a similar question can be tested, right? What are the changes? ඉතින් පුතා මොනවද මේ changes වෙන්න පුළුවන්? Yes, one thing is what? First thing is what? It can increase the efficiency of the business. It can increase the efficiency of the business. At the same time, it can save some time. First point increase the efficiency of the business activities. Increase the efficiency of the business activities. First one. Increase the efficiency of the business activities. So that is a kind of a change that could happen. Increase the efficiency of the business activities. First point. And explain the word. So always you have to pay your attention to the action verb. So you have to do something fair for the action verb. So you have to explain it. So the better increase the efficiency of the business activities due to the saving the time and resources. Expand clear that just not the point, you have to expand and write. Then that could be accepted as an answer. Explain. Clear that, right? What else? What else? So for this question, I think they had allocated around 4 marks. Yes, 4 marks. So you need to write around 4 points. Yes, I think so. Yes, fine. So what else? What else? Another thing is the market could be expanded. Now, because of the development of highways and these expressways, the businessmen who are in Colombo or in these areas, they can expand their market up to the Gal Hambantota areas. So that is a one change we can notice. And that change you can write. Next one. Expansion of the market due to expansion of the market due to easy access to different cities. Expansion of market due to easy access to different cities across the country. Clear? ඒ වගේ පොත අපට descriptive ලියන්න ඕනේ word එක explain තියෙන්නේ. Clear නේද? Right. Clear that, right? At the same time, now look, think about an example like this. Now, the southern area, when we are transporting fish and these kinds of perishable items from those areas to Colombo, those days, since it took more time to travel from their places to these areas or Colombo area, it took more time. So as a result of that, the perishable items got what? Expired or perished. Clear? So this problem can be sorted out with the highway network. Clear, Ramayana? We'll write the next point. Reduce the perishability. Reduce the perishability of perishable items. Reduce the perishability of perishable items because of fast distribution. Because of the fast distribution can take place all over the country. Can take place all over the country. Can take place all over the country. At the same time, you can reduce your the transportation cost. At the same time, you can reduce your warehousing cost or the storing cost as well. Because now, for an example, let's say since we are since earlier before this highway networks comes to Sri Lanka, we had to purchase the item in bulk form because it is really difficult to travel from there and here and there. Clear? But since now it is really easy, you can bring the stock items for small quantities as well, and that will reduce your warehousing cost. ඉස්සරළම ගොඩාක් අර ඈත ගිහිල්ලා අරන් එන්න වෙන හින්දා ටයිම් එකක් යන හින්දා you have to bring in the bulk form. එකපාර ගිහිල්ලා ගොඩාක් stocks අරන් එන්න වෙනවානේ. අරන් ඇවිල්ලා ඔයාගේ stores වල දාන්න තියෙනවා. So it will increase your what? Storing or the warehousing cost. Clear for the warehousing rent, warehousing insurance, this all this increase. We know the අපි ඉගෙනගෙන තියෙනවා ළමයි holding cost එක stock එකේ stocking holding cost එක වැඩි වෙනවා. Clear the එතකොට ළමයි now, but since now it is really easy to travel from here and there, we can purchase or bring the stocks in small quantities and do our operation. So that will reduce our what? The warehousing cost and the storing cost. At the same time, since we can travel really fast from there to there, we can save our fuel cost as well. Fuel cost එක අඩුයි. දැන් highway වල යනකොට ළමයි ඒකනේ petrol consumption එක අඩුයි, because we can drive very fast. So that is one advantage. So we will write that advantage. Reduction of storage cost, reduction of storage cost and due to easy access to reduction of storage cost due to easy access for distribution points and to suppliers, due to easy access to distribution points and suppliers, and reduction of transportation cost, reduction of transportation cost. Right, okay. So those are some kinds of advantages you can take. At the same time, now one more point, we can build more business relationships. So we can have good relationships. Now whenever the highways are built all around the country, we can travel very frequently and within a limited time we can travel from there to there. So that will increase the business relationships as well. Clear the right? Increase the business relationships with the business partners. Increase the business relationships with the business partners. Increase the business relationships with the business partners. Is that understood? Question ekakata answers liyanna oy pattern එකෙන් ලියා ගන්න ඕනේ. Clear ළමයි? Is that understood? Right, okay. Shall we move to the second one? If any questions or any arguments for the questions, let me know. Right. So the second question is asking, the theme of school debate for this year is, right, anyway, developing railway is more important for business growth than developing roads. Describe 2 factors for each that you are expecting to present for and against on this theme as a member of the school debate team. Right, clear Nilamai? So this is one of the question was tested in 2016 question එකක් මේ අහලා තියෙන්නේ. So it says it's better to develop railways other than what? Road development. So you are asking you to present 2 factors for each, for and against. Now for and against කියලා කියන්නේ ළමයි you have to give positively and the negatively. That is what you mean by for and against. Clear? So first of all, then අපි ලියමු facts for එහෙනම් මුලින්ම positive side එකට ලියමු. So මේකේ අහන්න මොනවද පුතා මේ අහන්නේ? Simple. මේ theory එක මොකක්ද අපි ඉගෙනගෙන තියෙන්නේ? What is the theory behind this? They are asking you to write advantages of railway transportation and the disadvantages of railway transportation. Those are the things you have to write as the for and against. For the for means the positive. You are commenting positively. Clear that? Which means you have to write the advantages of railway transportation. Against means the negative. You have to comment negatively. So those are the disadvantages you have to write for the relevant to railway transportation. Very simple, right? අපි ලියමු ළමයි first one. දැන් මුලින්ම ගන්න ළමයි for. So what are the advantages ළමයි? Why it is better to develop the railway transportation than developing roads? main advantage එක මොකක්ද? Yes, you can transport large quantities or the large amount of goods and passengers, which means the capacity is really high when we are using the railway transportation. So we can transport large amount of goods and passengers compared to the road transportation. The road transportation එකේ maximum යන්න පුළුවන් the 40 feet container and the buses නේ. But you can transport more than that if you are using the train or the railway transportation. Now first one ලියනවා තමයි 4 වලට මුලින්ම ලියන්නේ. Positive comments මුලින්ම ලියන්නේ. Clear the right. We write can transport can transport a large number of goods and passengers can transport. Now මෙතනත් තියෙන describe මේ බාන action verb එක describe clear නේද? So you have to give a descriptive answer, not just the point, write the point and leave. Clear the mention කිව්වොත් that's all. මේක කියලා describe. So you have to write a descriptive part. Descriptive පොඩ්ඩක් ලියන්න ඕනේ. අපි ලිව්වේ කොහොමද පුතා? Can transport large amount of goods and passengers at once due to high capacity of compartments. අමාර කෝච්චියේ තියෙන boxes වලට අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් කියන කෝච්චි පෙට්ටි කියලා. ඒවට මොනවද කියන්නේ? කෝච්චි train boxes කියලා එහෙම ලියන්න එපා. Train compartments. Those are what you call as train compartments. Train boxes කියලා එහෙම ලියන්න එපා. අපි සිංහලෙන් කෝච්චි පෙට්ටි කියලා කිව්වට. That's wrong. Train compartments. Right, okay, the first point is hurry. So they are asking you to write 2, but we will write around 3, 4. අපි දෙක තුනක් ලියමු. Right, okay. So what are the things? The thing is, Lamai, now you know when we are developing the railways, we can travel from one place to another place without any delays. Sometimes, for an example, delays can happen, but anyway, the traffic is not valid. The traffic fact is not valid fact for railway transportation. So in that case, you can save the time. At the same time, you can travel at a lower cost. Cost එක අඩු වෙන පුතා සාමාන්‍යයෙන් when we are traveling by trains, so it can reduce your traveling cost as well. So that can be written as a positive thing. Clear? Then අපි ලියමු next point එක. Still we are writing positive comments. 4. Since the cost for transportation is lower than the road transportation, since the transportation cost is lower than the road transportation, since the transportation cost, that the railway transportation cost කියලා කිව්වත් පුතා okay, railway transportation cost is lower than the road transportation cost, it will cost to reduce the prices of the goods. It will cost to reduce the prices of the goods. දැන් අර transportation cost එක අඩු හින්දා goods වල price එක අඩු වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Right, ඊළඟට පුතා මොකද්ද? Since there is no traffic in the railways, we can transport goods and passengers without any time delay, so we can save some times as well. But in other way, there can be some kinds of delays in the trains as well. But if we forget about that point, සාමාන්‍යයෙන් train වල delays වෙනවා. ඒක නෙමෙයිනේ පුතා මෙතනදී අපි ගන්න positive පැත්ත. Yes, positively when we are thinking we can transport goods and passengers without wasting time. එහෙනම් third point එක. මේකේ points දෙකයි අහන්න පුතා අපි තුනක් විතර ලියමු. can transport goods and passengers without can transport goods and passengers without time delays time delays time delays time delays and and thereby can save the time thereby can save the time and thereby can save the time can save the time. Clearly right. We'll write. So that is all for the positive points. Negative points that is for the against. Comments against facts against. Clearly you have to give the answer very systematic and organized manner. Systematically organized manner examiner will be able to read your answers. Clearly right. Against, right? What are the facts we can take against the railway transportation? First thing is what? Always, Lamai, the problem with railway transportation we have discussed in our theories. What is that? You have to get the support of other transport methods. Other transport methods when we are using what? Railway transportation. Or railway transportation use definitely once you get down from the railway station, you have to get the support of other transportation such as buses, tuk-tuks or whatever to go to your final destination. That could be a disadvantage or a point against the railway transportation. Now, first point, since the railway transportation cannot be used, since the railway transportation cannot be used up to the final destination, 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 there's a necessity of using, there's a requirement of using, another transport, another transport another transport medium, another transport medium, for another transport medium, right? Okay, right? What is another transport medium? Okay, against right? Another point, what is that? You know, railway transportation, one of the disadvantage is what? We cannot use it whenever we want to use it. It is not available always. So we have to schedule our things according to their timetables where the trains are run. කෝච්චි දුවන වෙලාවට තත කෝච්චියක් තියෙන වෙලාවටම වාගේ schedule එක වෙනස් කරගන්න වෙනවා. So that is a problem. In a second point එක ලියමු. Cannot use at any time whenever it is required, whenever it is required, whenever it is required, whenever it is required. Whenever it is required. Clearly, am I right? Okay. Another point we just wrote 2 points for against as well, but one more point. Now you know there whenever there are technical problems such as the signal errors or sometimes the trains can get derailed. Derailed කියලා කියන්නේ පුතා ඔය මේ පීලි පනිනවා කියන එක. Derailed. Rail derailed. Clear the rail කියන word එක ඉස්සෙන් D දා ගන්නවා. Clear the derailed. Because of these things, trains can get what? Delay. if any delay happens, that could impact a huge that could create a huge impact to the passengers and the businesses නේ clear නේ දැන් බස් එකක් delay වුණා වගේ නෙවෙයිනේ පුතානේ for an example let's say 7:45 train එක if it is got derailed, then the entire train, the passengers who are in the entire train has to get down and find another way to go the rest of the journey. At the same time, people who are waiting ahead, or the people who are waiting for in the stations ahead, they have to suffer again because the train is delayed and they have to find another way again to complete their journey. So that could be a problem. It's not just like something delay happens in the road transportation. Road transportation එක delay එකක් වුණා වගේ නෙමෙයි. road එකේ නම් පුතා බස් එක නැති වෙච්ච එකම ටක් ගාලා බැස්සා ඊළඟ බස් එක ගත්ත ගියා. Clear? This is not something very easy to do it. Clear? So that can be a negative point. එහෙනම් අපි ලියමු ළමයි. Right? ලියමු. Technical problems such as signal issues, technical problems such as signal issues, comma, derail of trains could interrupt the railway transportations. ඔය මොකම ලියන්න ඕනේ නෑ ළමයි the meaning එක ලිව්වනම් ඇතියා. ඉතින් මම මේ ටිකක් formal විදිහට කියන්නේ. But anyway, you can write by your words. Could interrupt the railway transportation. Right, okay, right. So we'll move to the third question. Is that all right? Understood නේ ළමයි? ඒතර ඔය answers ම ලියන්න ඕනේ කියලා rule එකක් නෑ. You can write, but the way you have to think, Right. Question number 3. It is a MCQ which was tested in 2017. From the following, which is the correct statement related to transportation system? Bus station is an element of transport terminal. Yes. Okay, right. Railway is an element of mode of transportation. Railway is that the mode? No, it is the way. So the second answer is wrong. Look at this one. Second answer is wrong because the railway is what? It is the way. Make a way. It should be the way. You know the elements ne? Elements tika mataka illa මොකද්ද? Way, mode, power and terminal ne? Way, mode, power and terminal. Clear ne? Right. එතකොට here this answer is wrong because this is not mode. Aircraft is an element of power. Is that power? No. It is also. Yes, it is also the mode. Fine. Ship is an element of way. No, it is. That's also wrong. Port is an element of mode of transportation. That is also wrong. Yes, so the correct answer is bus station is the element. Bus station is the element of transportation terminal. This is correct. So this should be the answer. Make it answer. This is the answer. Clear, Lama? Is that understood? All right. Clear, Lama? Is that all right? Good. Fine. So the first answer is the correct answer. Right. Question number 4. They are saying state 2 advantages that a businessman can gain by using global positioning system, GPS, when transporting goods. Sama, you know what you mean by GPS? GPS is a technology where we are using for these maps and to find the locations. So that is the GPS technology. So whenever we are transporting the goods, when a businessman is using this GPS system, what are the advantages he can get? You are just asking to write two things. First thing is what? Now, whenever you are using GPS, whenever you want to reach a particular place from the place where you are now, then in the location, what is the technology you are using? The Google Maps. So it works with the GPS. GPS supports. Clear? So you can find the easiest way and the fastest way to reach your desired destination by using GPS. So that is one of the advantages you can use. This also for similar for the businessman as well. මේ businessman ටත් ඒ විදිහම තමයි නේ. එයාටත් දැන් අපිට transportation එකක් කරන්න transport good බඩු ටිකක් deliver කරන්න customer ට. Now he can ask the customer's location and he can put it into the Google and find the easiest way and the fastest way to reach that place. And first point, can find the easiest and fastest. Can find the easiest and the fastest. Easiest and fastest way to reach to a particular location. 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 Or to the desired location. That's all right. Clear? At the same time, what are other the things? Now, when you are delivering the things by courier services, sometimes they will give you a tracking link or tracking code. So by tracking, track use it will show you where your parcel is now. eBay tracking GPS systems where your location is now. Clear? Pick me again, Uber taxi. It shows how whether the driver is reaching to your place or not. So you will get the real-time update about the location. Clear? So goods transport when you are transporting the goods, you can find where your goods are exactly now. Real-time update GPS technology. Clear? William? Can get a real-time update. About the locations. Can get a real-time update about the locations. When transporting goods. And passengers use කරන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් සාමාන්‍ය අපි business වල use කරන එක තැනක් කියනද? දැන් when the sales reps are going in a company, sales reps are there, so they are going everywhere around the country. So usually the manager track කරලා බලනවා පුතා daily basis whether that particular sales rep is working around that area. ඒක බලන්නේ මොකෙන්ද පුතා? GPS system එකෙන් බලන්නේ. Clear? ඔන්න නියමම practical example එකක් ළම GPS අපි use කරනවා. අනිවාර්යෙන් බලනවා sales job එකකට ගියොත් එහෙම if you go for a sales job, your sales manager will track. එයා office එකේ ඉන්නේ. එයා office එකේ දැන් track කරලා බලනවා whether you are moving or not. In that area you have been allocated. ඔයා allocate කරලා තියෙන area එක ඇතුලේ ඔයා shops වලට visit කරනවද? move වෙනවද කියලා බලනවා. ඒක බලන්නේ මොකෙන්ද? GPS tracking systems වලින්. Clear? So that is one real time update එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන්. move වෙන්නේ නැත්නම් ටක් ගාලා call කරලා කියන මොකද අද වැඩ නැද්ද කියලා call කරනවා. Sales job is not something very easy job, but it's also kind of very have your freedom as sales job එකේ ළමයි ටිකක් අර office එකේ වාඩිලා ඉන්න ඕනේ නැහැ වටේම රවුම ගහන්න තියෙන්නේ. කාතකට ඒක මාරු අනිත් පැත්තට ඉතින් පොඩ්ඩක් challenging තියා because if the targets are not achieved end of the day you will finish. එහෙමත් තියෙනවා. Right, okay. Practical example එකක් කිව්වා. ඔකත් ලියන්න පුළුවන්. Another one තමයි let's say now දෙකයි ලියන්න කියන්නේ but anyway we will write one more point. Now again, whenever you want to travel a particular place, you can find the distance. How far from my place to that place. Depend on that, you can decide how long it would take, at the same time, how much it will cost you. Understood? දැන් හිතන්න ඔයාට මාතර යන්න ඕනේ කියලා from the your application. ඔයා දැම්මා Google එකේ it shows the ways you can reach to Matara and it shows you the distance as well. So you can calculate how much fuel cost I may need. නේ කොච්චර කොට cost එකක් යනවද කාර් එකේ ගියා. So that is a one chance you can use. Clear ද එහෙනම් next point. Can estimate the transportation cost. 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 Clear, Lama? Is that all right? Good, neither. Fine. So we'll move to the next question. Right. Among the elements of transportation system, port belongs to the element of blank and railway track belongs to the element of very simple questions. So the always the most important theoretical part of your transportation lesson is what? Elements of transportation. What they are? Way, mode, power, terminals. Way, mode, power, terminals. Right. Among the elements of transportation system, port. Port belongs to what? Terminals. Port belongs to terminals. Port belongs to terminals. Then you have to write terminals here. Terminals. And the railway track belongs to the element of what? Way. These are the two answers you have to write. Way. Way. Clear, Rama? Is that all right? Good. Right. Question number 5. Done. Right. Question number 6. Indicate 4 factors that should be considered when choosing transport service to transport fruit from Nuwara to Colombo. What are the things you have to consider? Actually, these are the factors you have to think in our theoretical past. When we are doing the theories, we learn what are the factors you have to think. What are the factors to be considered when you are deciding a transportation system? Transport system, whenever you are selecting a transport, what are the factors you have to think? So the same things you can write. What are the things? What are the things? The speed is a direct theories, direct theory, nothing much to think. Just you have to write, no need to explain. Just say they are saying indicate me. Just you have to say the speed, capacity, safety, speed, capacity, safety, availability, and the cost. Speed, capacity, safety, availability, cost. They are asking just to write 4, but you can write even 5. Speed, capacity, safety, availability, and the cost. Clearly, that is very simple and easy question. Directly ask the theory. Question number 7. Describe 4 suggestions with reasons that you make to increase the transportation of goods by train. The question tested in 2018. 2018 test question. It says, making here you are being asked to describe the suggestions to increase the use of train for goods transportation. goods transportation වලට ළමයි train එක පාවිච්චි කරන එක වැඩි කරන්න නම් මොනවද ඔයාට දෙන්න පුළුවන් suggestions කියලා අහනවා. Nowadays ළමයි you can see you have to give these all these answers relevant to Sri Lankan context. හරිනේ ලංකාවට අදාළව ළමයි ලියන්නේ if not you have been specifically asked. වාගේ වෙනමම specifically මෙන්න මේ එහෙම ඇහුවේ නැත්තම් ඔය හැමදෙස්සම මේ Sri Lankan context එකෙන් තමයි ලියන්න ඕන answers නේ. Clear? Right. So you know when it comes to Sri Lanka, trains are mostly used for passenger transportations, not much for goods transportation. I'm not saying we are not using, we are using, but the more used for what? Passenger transportation, maybe due to the limited trains available in Sri Lanka. ලංකාවේ ගොඩාක්ම trains නෑනේ. Even you know office time එකට අර additional දානවා ළමයි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් we don't have much the trains නේ. ඉතින් අර limited එකෙන් අපි ගොඩක්ම කරන්නේ transport කරන්නේ passengers තමයි. But you are being asked to do more suggestions or give some suggestions to increase this towards the goods transportation. මොකක්ද ළමයි දෙන්න පුළුවන් suggestion එක? First thing is you have to make the trains available with the correct or with the appropriate compartments. Now still we are using some when we are transporting the goods මම දැකලා තියෙන සමහර stations වල ඉන්නකොට දකිනවා goods transporting trains are arriving. We are still using a kind of empty compartment without seats. Or seats නැති නිකම්ම අර normal compartment එකක්ම තමයි seats ටික remove කරලා ඒව තමයි use කරන අපේ goods transporting වලට, which is not the appropriate way. You have to have a specific kinds of compartment which are built for specifically each and every type of goods. එක එක පිටරටවල එහෙම නෙමෙයි පුතා. ඕක තියෙන්නේ එක එක type එකේ goods වලට එක එක type එකේ compartments තියෙනවා. For the perishable items there should be what? Freezer compartments තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ cool වෙන එක තියෙන perishable items වලට meat, fish, vegetables, fruits ඒ වගේ ඒවට අන්න දැන් අපේ කොහොමද යන්නේ? ඒක යන්නේ නිකම්ම නිකන් අන්න අර කොලේ කොතලා වගේ දාලා තියෙනවා. නිකම්ම නිකන් compartment එක ගන්නේ. It is not the appropriate way. Suggestion එකක් වාට දෙන්න පුළුවන් ළමයි මොකද්ද? To create appropriate compartment to transport different kinds of goods according to their nature. nature එකට base කරලා compartment හදන්න ඕනේ. clear නේද මම කියන එක? දැන් fish, meat ඒ වගේ items transport කරන වෙනම compartments. fragile items ඔය බිඳෙන අනම්මනම් ඒවා. ඒක ළමයි ඔය සාමාන්‍ය trains වල බිඳෙන ඒවා යවන්නේ නැහැ. ඇයි? බානකොට බිඳිලා ඉවරයි. ස්පෙસિෆික් කම්පාර්ට්මන්ට් එකක් නැහැ කොහොමද ඒවා හෙල්ලෙනවා. එහෙමම හෙල්ලෙන්න බෑනේ පුතානේ. යවනකොට මේ fragile items so අන්න ඒ වගේ different compartments හදන්න. right. එහෙනම් ලියමු first suggestion එක. create different and appropriate compartments. Describe කරන්න කියලා කියනවා. So you have to describe the point. Create appropriate compartments specifically for different kinds of goods. Specifically for different kinds of goods based on its nature. ඒ කියන්නේ පුතා ඒ කියන්නේ අර නිකන් සිම්පල් කෝ බඩුවෙන් බඩුවට වෙන වෙනම type එකේ compartments හදුවොත් අන්න එතකොට people will try to use the transportation. Railway transportation for goods transportation. Clear that? Right, good. Then another point now why some people are reluctant to use railway transportation for goods transportation, because once the goods are delivered to a particular station they have to have another transport mode to take those goods to the final destination. එතකොට පුතා අපි මොකද කරන්නේ? සජෙෂන් එක මොකද කරන්න ඕනේ? Yes, we have to make the other transport facilities available around the stations or the terminals. Clearද? ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් අර බඩු ටික ස්ටේෂන් එකට ආවට පස්සේ ඔයාට වෙන ලොරි එකක් ගන්න, ටුක් ටුක් එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන් transport methods තියෙන්න ඕනේ ගොඩක් වෙලාවට. ඒවා availability වැඩි කරොත් will the people happily transport the goods by the trains? Yes නේ. එහෙනම් next point එක අපි ලියමු ඒක. Make the other transport modes available around the railway stations. Make the other transportation modes available around the railway stations. හරි ඊළඟට තව එකක් ලියමුවා මොකද්ද? Now the other problem is what? When we are willing to transport our goods by the railway systems or railway transportation, the problem is what? Sometimes they are not available. They may not available. Clear? So we have to increase the availability of the trains so the people can use for the goods transportation whenever they want. Right? Increase the availability of trains, and increase the frequency of time schedules. අර time schedules වල පුතා frequency එක වැඩි කරන්න ඕනේ. දැන් එක train එකක් ගියාට පස්සේ ආයෙ පැය දෙකකින් විතර train එකක් තියෙනවා නම් people will not willing to transport නේ. So if the frequency time schedule එක increase කරොත් අන්න yes we can use. Right? What else? Then the other problem is lamai why Sri Lankan people are much reluctant to transport their goods by train. The reason is the loading and unloading activities are not taking place securely. අර මේ බඩු ඔයා දැකලාද train වලින් loading and unloading part, it is not much appropriately or happening, or they are not in a way, their handling part is not much secure. So if we can change this activities, or if we can ask these employees or the people who are working in these railway departments to handle this with care, that could be increase the usability of railway transportation for goods transportation. And අපි ලියමු next point එක. Increase the safety of goods. Transported by the trains. Increase the safety of the goods transported by the trains when handling, loading and unloading. Loading and unloading. Right. Another suggestion we'll write: increase the capacity of the trains to transport more goods at once. Increase the capacity of train compartments increase the capacity of train compartments, increase the capacity of train compartments to transport more goods at once. More goods at once. Clear නේද? අපි suggestions ලිව්වා 6ක් විතර. So that's all. Clear නේද? Right. මේ වගේ question එකක් තමයි ආයෙ අහන්න පුළුවන්. Clear. Question number 8. Yes, what is the option which correctly contains the elements of transportation? අයියෝ ළමයා දන්නවනේ මොනවද elements of transportation මොනවද? මොනවද? Yes. Way, mode, power and terminal. Way, mode, power and terminal. Right. Mode, power, way, terminal. Yes. There's no order, but the items should be, the answer should contain all 4 elements, right? The first answer is correct, but anyway, we'll see the others. Mode, power, cost, speed. Lamai, second answer is wrong because of what? Cost and speed. They are not the elements. Elements. Mode, terminal, correct. Cost and speed, again, third answer is wrong because of cost and speed. They are not terminals. Sorry, they are not modes. Sorry. Mode, power, way, speed. Fourth answer is wrong because of what? Speed is not one of the elements. නේ ඒවා element එකක් නෙමෙයි. ඒතර මේ answer එක වරදින්න හේතුව ළමයි learn කරන්න. Clear? That is also one way you are learning. Capacity. ළමයි, is the capacity one of our elements? No. Capacity කියන්නේ element එකක් නෙමෙයි. Others are elements. So the correct answer is number 1 is the correct answer. So number 1 correct answer නේ. හරි. එහෙනම් first one එක තමයි ළමයි correct answer එක. First one is the correct answer. First one is the correct answer. This one is the correct answer. හරි නේද? Right. Fine. We'll move to the next question. Question number 9. This is also 2019. This is also 2019. Right. 2019. Outbound logistics starts from blank and ends with what? Right. Very simple. Outbound logistics start yes, starting from the seller and ending with the customer. So either you can write the seller or the manufacturer because it moves from middle part to forward. We learned then the outbound logistic always starts from the seller to the and ends with the customer. Seller and customer is the answer you have to say. Seller. Start from seller and ends with customer. Ends with customer. Clear? The question number 9 is done. Question number 10. State 4 weaknesses of train transport service in Sri Lanka and suggest solutions to rectify those weaknesses. Right. They are asking you to suggest some what are the weaknesses we can find, and also they are asking you to give some suggestions also. Right. The problems Sri Lankan in the Sri Lankan context, what are the issues we have with the trains? First thing is what? The railway transportation is not scattered or the spread all over the country. You can't, there are certain places you can't travel by train. So that is one problem. So what is your suggestion? Your suggestion is to increase or develop the railway systems to all places or throughout the country. Anna suggestion. Issue suggestion. That is what you are expected to write for this question as the answer. Clear? Suggestion, sorry, issue suggestion in front of that or below to that you can write. Clear? First one issue thereafter you can write the suggestion. Clear? What you can have a model like this. Yes, you can have a model like this. Issue or the weakness. Then suggestion. Right, okay, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, you have to write us. So first of all, we write the weakness. Unavailability of trains, unavailability of trains unavailability of railways කියලා ගමු පුතා unavailability of trains කියන්න පුළුවන් even better to say railway across the country so that is the first weakness. Then you have to give the suggestion. What is the suggestion? Develop the railways all over the country Clear the right. Another issue, weakness cannot use whenever it is required. A problem, that is one of the problem. What is how you can solve that problem? What is the solution? To increase the number of travelings. Again, අපි යන මේ terms ගන්න වැඩි කරන්න ඕනේ. දැන් ගොඩක් ලංකාවේ තියෙන එකනේ උදේට කෝච්චි 4-5ක් තියෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ day time එකේ very the time lag is the time between the trains is more නේ. ගොඩක් වැඩි. එකක් ගිහලා පැය ගානකට පස්සේ අනිත් එක එන්නේ. Clear? So we have to increase the number of trips or the number of turns වැඩි කරන්න ඕනේ. Clear? Right. එහෙනම් අපි ලියමු first one. Cannot අපි මෙහෙම ලියමු පුතා. Unavailability of trains to travel frequently. Unavailability of trains to travel frequently. Unavailability of trains to travel frequently. And whenever it is required. එහෙනම් suggestion එක ලියන්න නම් ඉස්සරහින් increase the number of trains available and increase the number of turns. turns. ඒ කියන්නේ අර කෝච්චිය දුවන වාර ගාන කියලා කියන්නේ turns. trips ගාන වැඩි කරන්න ඕනේ. But you can't increase that without increasing the number of trains and train engines නේ. එහෙම engines වැඩි කරන්න නැතුව තමයි කරන්න බෑ ඇත්තටම. ඒකයි trains ගාන වැඩි කරන්න වෙනවා කියන්නේ. Clear නේද? Right, okay, right. So what is the other problems we have? What are the other problems we have? Sri Lankan context ගත්තොත් heavily loaded නේ. දැන් passenger trains are heavily loaded නේ. බාන උදේට එහෙම office times වල තමයි මේක ටිකක් අර heavily loaded. The passengers cannot travel comfortably. With comfort you can't travel නේ. අන්න ඒක problem එකක්. Clear නේ? එහෙනම් අපි ලියමු. Heavily loaded passenger trains. Heavily loaded passenger trains at office or the peak hours. Office hours කියන්න පුළුවන් පුතා නැත්නම් peak hours කියන්න පුළුවන්. Office times කියලා කියන අපි සාමාන්‍ය උදේ 1යි හවස 1යිනේ office time. Yeah, the time we are starting the work and finishing the work නේ. Peak hours. Right. Suggestion එක මොකද්ද? Increase the number of trains available for peak hours. Increase the number of trains available for peak hours. Increase the number of trains available for peak hours. Right. එහෙනම් මොකක්ද ඊළඟ weakness එක? Even in passenger trains ළමයි the comfort is not enough නේ. අර මේ හොඳ comfortable නෑ නේ train එක. So that is a problem we have. In other countries the trains are really a comfortable way of traveling. But in Sri Lanka it's not much comfortable. Clear? Yeah? Poor comfort of passenger compartments. Poor comfort of passenger compartments. Passenger trains වල comfort එක අඩුයි කියන එක. Right. Suggestion එක මොකද්ද? Increase the passenger compartment or the comfortable passenger compartments. Increase the comfortable passenger compartments. කියන්නේ air condition කරපු trains අර හොඳ අදාර comfortable seats දාපු trains අන්න ඒවා increase කරන්න ඕනේ. Increase the comfortable passenger compartments. Clear? One more තව එකක් ලියමුද? One more thing we'll write. Unavailability of more facilities to transport goods. Unavailability of more facilities to transport goods. ලංකාවේ goods transportation අපි කලින් කතා කරේ is not much popular with train transportation. So නේ. Right. එතකොට අපි ලියමු suggestion එක. Increase the facilities available for goods transportation. So the suggestion is increase the facilities for goods transportation. Clear now? So this kind of answer was expected at the exam. Exam එකේ පුතා ආගේ expect කරේ මෙන්න මේ වගේ answer එකක්. Clear නේද? So you have to give the weakness and also the suggestion. So that is what it was expected from you. Right, good. So we'll move to the next question. We'll move to the next question. Question number 11. Question number 11. Yes. Name the logistic system that matches each description given below. Now, what are the logistic systems we have? Balanced logistic, heavily inbound logistic, heavily outbound logistic, and reverse logistic. So these are the 4 types we had. So you have to mention what they are. Clear that, right? Can I give you time to do this, or else shall we do it together? So read the first one. Look at the first one. This was tested in 2020. This was tested. So what are the answers you can give? Yes. First one, supply of goods manufactured using purchased raw material to the consumer. Supply of goods manufactured, obtaining required raw materials for production. Yes. Providing products to end user. Returning used products to the manufacturer. Clear ළමයි okay නේද? මේකේ types 4 ලියන්න මොනවද තියෙන්නේ? Supply of goods manufactured using purchase raw materials to the consumer. So it can be, you can take that as, so anyway, now returning used products to the manufacturer. That is what? That is what? That is anyway, it should be what? It is reverse logistic. Reverse logistic, definitely. Reverse logistic. So you can say this is reverse logistic. Reverse logistic. This is reverse logistic. Clear? This is reverse. Providing products to the end user. So it can be definitely the same meaning, but anyway, it is outbound. So it can be this part gives you the outbound. So it can be, you can write heavily outbound. Heavily outbound. Outbound logistic. Because it says just the meaning is almost gives you the outbound logistics. So, but anyway, type type outbound logistic you have to specifically say whether you have to say it heavily outbound logistic. Obtaining required raw materials. You are getting the supply from the suppliers. It is what? Inbound logistic. But since you have to write the type, you have to say heavily inbound logistic. So heavily inbound logistic. Clear? Now look at this one. Supply of goods manufactured using purchase raw materials. So we are supplying manufactured goods to the consumer, but we have used the purchase raw materials. Purchasing raw materials means what? Inbound logistic. And once we are supplying the manufactured products to the customer, that is what you call as outbound logistics. So the inbound logistic part is also there, outbound logistic part is also there. So this is a situation where we can assume as balanced logistic. Balanced logistic. Clear? So exact meaning does not give, but since they are asking you to write the type, type එක ලියන්න කියන්නේ පුතා. දැන් මේ ඔක්කොම logistic තමයි. දැන් මේක මෙතන නම් logistic, inbound logistic, outbound logistic දෙකම තියෙනවා. Clear? So you have to say balance. Here only inbound, but since you have to write the type, you have to say heavily inbound. Here also it is a part of outbound. It represents the outbound part, but since you have to write the system type, you have to say heavily outbound. Definitely the final point is reverse logistic. We have learned what do you mean by that. Reverse logistic එක අපි ඉගෙනගෙන තියෙන්නේ. So we are returning once the consumption is over. Is that all right? Right. So we'll move to the next question. Question number 12. Describe the importance of air transportation for the economy, giving two reasons. Very simple. So you have to say what? The advantages of air transportation. Right. We'll write to clear. Discuss theory direct theories. Right. We'll write. William. First one. Good for facilitate for international trade. Facilitate for international trade. And tourism sector. Facilitate for international trade and tourism sector. Clear? Right. Then generate more job opportunities. So they are asking the advantages for the economy. So you can say generate more job opportunities. With the aircraft and these terminals, what you call as the airports, you know there are so many jobs opportunities are arisen with the air transportation නේ මේ air transportation field එක දාලා කොච්චර jobs තියෙනවද නේ starting from the ground handling air hostess pilots and also different ground handling staff categories are there නේ so creating more job opportunities. Then fast. So increase the fast transportation from country to another country. Third point, increase the fast transportation from country to another country. Then when this air transportation is developed, it will create more taxes for the government. Now you know when these airports are developed, that could be a chance of earning taxes for the government. Each and every airport there is a custom to collect the taxes for the government. Increase the tax income of the government. Next point, increase the tax income of the government. Increase the tax income of the government. At the same time, importance of the economic it will contribute for the international develop or improve the international relationships as well. Next one. Contribute to develop international relationships. Contribute to develop international relationships. Continue to develop international relationships. They are asking just 2. We wrote almost 4, 5. Right, that's all. Question number 13. Describe 2 current trends in the road transport sector in Sri Lanka with 2 examples. The point is, now you can't write these answers. Now the answers that were given in this 2020 exam may not be available for now. දැන් ඒක available trend එකක් කියලා කියන පුතා, the trend will change with the time නේ. When the time passes, the trend will change නේ. Clear? තොර අද තියෙන trends මොනවද කියන එකයි you have to write. Clear නේ? දැන් අපි ලියමු first one, new answers you have to write. You do not look at the past paper answers which has been given. So you have to write new answers for all these. මේකට ලියන්න පුතා අලුත් answers ලියන්න ඕනේ. පරණ ඒ answers ටිකම ලියන්න යන්න එපා. That could be wrong because the trend always change with the time passes. When the time passes, it gets changed. With the time, එක change වෙනවා. එහෙනම් අපි ලියමු නේද අලුත් answers ටිකක් ලියමු. Yes, one of the trend is what? One of the trend is what? Yes, what? One of the trend is what? Yes, road transportation. Availability of expressways. Availability of expressways all over the country. All over the country. All over the country. Another trend dekha. And use of expressways frequently. දැන් ගොඩක් කට්ටිය ළමයි use කරන්නේ highways නේ. expressways එක use කරන අනේක trend එකක්. Clear? Right. So the first point is done. Another point, available අපි ලියමු අලුත් මේ විදිහට establishing Multimodal centers, establishing multimodal centers, MCs, multimodal centers, MMC, multimodal centers. Establishing multimodal centers to connect all transport modes, to connect all transport modes, to connect all transport modes into one hub, HUB. මම කියන්නලා මොකද්ද ලිව්වේ කියලා. ඔක අලුත් මේ concept එකක් දැන් ඔයා දැකලා තියෙනවා. but anyway ඒක trend එකක් දැන් තියෙනවා. Multimodal centers කියන්නේ මොනවද ළමයි? The one has been established in Makumura, Kottawa, where you can find it is a hub where all the transport modes are connected. The train is connected to one place, the buses are connected to one place, and also you have been given the passengers have been given the chance to park their vehicles those places and get into the buses and train and come back and get their cars. And systems now one has been established in Makumura. So that is another going to be established in where? Anuradhapura now. The other part of the they are doing one in Anuradhapura as well. Clear? These are kinds of what? Multimodal centers. Clear? So that is also one of the trend. Clear? The may answer relevant A clear? But these are good answers now. Right. Use of electronic vehicles. Road transportation road transportation relevant use of electronic vehicles for transportation. Use of electronic vehicles for transportation. Now you know most of the vehicles nowadays we are using are electronically powered. So those are e-vehicles. Right. They are asking two, but we will write one more. Building underground tunnels. Next one. Building underground tunnels. Building underground tunnels. Building underground tunnels. For crossing the roads. Underground tunnels. Yes. Right. Next to establishing bus halls, establishing bus halls with new facilities, an introduction of e-payments, introduction of e-payments. දැන් ළමාර e-payments කරන්න පුළුවන්, electronic payments කරන්න පුළුවන් නේ. Cards වලින් payment කරන්න පුළුවන්, highway වල payment එක කරන්න පුළුවන්. At the same time, now they are the metro bus systems. They are introducing the card payment system as well. So these kind of things can be written as the trends now නේ හරි එහෙනම් අපි ওই ටික ලියමු good එහෙනම් next question number 14 yes following are some of the attributes of logistic system. Okay, out of the above, what is the option which relates only attributes of warehousing? Warehousing වලට විතරක් relevant වෙන part එක හොයන්නලු. activities ටික හොයන්න කියලා මේකෙන් කියන්නේ නේ. Yes. So you have to get this yes. Fine. So what are the things you have to get? Ordering goods is that part of warehousing? No, ne? Receiving goods, receiving stocks, yes, ne? Receiving stock is a part of warehousing. So you can take. You can take this one. Right, good. Then connecting with customers, promoting sales, retrieving stocks for issuing, yes. Ensuring quality, yes. Inspecting goods, yes. Ensuring accuracy, yes. Maintaining an equilibrium with demand and supply. It is not involving research and development. No, ne. Now put the answer ka B E F G H. B E F G H. Third should be the answer, ne. Third should be the answer. Third one is the correct answer. Third one is the correct answer. Third one is B E F G H. Third one is the correct answer. Hari neda? So you know what are the activities which are taking place in warehousing. So you have to have that knowledge. This is directly from your theories, right? Question number 15. Yes, obtaining required inputs for production process of a firm is a function of blank logistic, and supply of output to the market is a function of logistic. Put the answers there, inbound and the outbound. Inbound and the outbound. So you have to write inbound here, inbound here, inbound and outbound. Inbound and outbound. Inbound, outbound. Inbound logistic and outbound logistic. Clear. Question number 16. We'll move to the question number 16. Warehousing is a process of two questions. Warehouse is the process of blank and blank stocks from the time of buying and manufacturing until they are used or sold. Now, my definition, warehousing definition. Warehousing is the process of what? Storing and preserving stocks. Now, storing and preserving are the two answers you have to write. Storing and preserving. 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 Question moved. Yes, storing and preserving. Storing and preserving. So it is the definition. Definition එක තමයි අහලා තියෙන්නේ. Right, okay. Question number 17. Write 4 elements of transportation system. අයියෝ ළමයි elements හතර මොනවද කියලා අහලානේ බලනවා. year එක මොකද්ද? 2022. 2022 වල. ඉතින් මේ very simple question නේ. just have to write. Mother, yes. What are the elements? What are the elements? Yes. Way. You can write the way. The kind of word just writing is also fine. The way, the mode, the power, the terminal. Or else you just can say way, mode, power, terminals. The kind of word you can use, or if without even, that's fine. Clear? No need to write way, mode, power, terminal. Good. Question number 18. Explain one of the logistic methods given below. Right. At the exam, you had been asked to explain one of these to get the marks. But here I have got the both things. Since we are doing this practicing session, we will explain what these two are. What they are. Reverse logistic and the third party logistic. So we can write reverse logistic means what? Once the goods are distributed to the customers, and once the consumers consume the product, they are reversing the product or the part of the product back to the manufacturer. That is what you known as reverse logistics. Reversing or returning the product or part of the product, reversing or returning the product or part of the product back to the manufacturer after the goods were sold to the customer. After the goods were sold to the customer. After the consumption after the goods were sold to the customer return consume return clear? After the goods were sold to the customer, or after the consumption, after the goods were sold to the customer or after the consumption. Return consume cylinder return so that is what you call the reverse logistics. Clear then? Good. Third part logistic means what? One of the logistic activity we are outsourcing. One of the logistic activities, it can be outbound logistic activity or inbound logistic activity. We are outsourcing to a third party to perform on behalf of us. So that is what you call the third party logistics. We have learned these things in our theory directly. Outsourcing one of the logistic activities to a third party to perform on behalf of the manufacturer. Put examples of examples make examples to perform on behalf of the manufacturer. Examples outsourcing security service, outsourcing accounting and taxation activities. Examples third part logistics. Outsourcing the quality checking of the materials. Quality inbound logistic we can outsource those samples to different party and get it done by them. Clear? Outsourcing quality checking of the materials, of the raw material. That is also fine. Now reverse logistic examples. What are reverse logistic examples? Yes. Returning the containers examples example cylinders and the empty bottles to the manufacturer, returning containers after the consumption. More containers cylinders and the bottles. Clear either, right? So that is the expected answer for this question, right? Question number 19. Question number 19. Question number 19. Yes, state 4 benefits a business can obtain by using proper packaging and equipments in warehousing. Packagings and the equipments, we know what are the equipments we are using. And we had learned this part in our theory as well. Make up a theory. We can arrange the warehouse in more organized manner. Points First one. Can arrange the warehouse in an organized manner. Can arrange the warehouse in an organized manner. An organized manner. An organized manner. An organized manner. Clear the mind? Okay. What else? Safe for the goods. Can increase the safety of 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 the employees. Can increase the safety of the employees. Next one. Can increase the safety of the employees. Can increase the safety of the employees. Next one. Can utilize the warehouse space. Can utilize the warehouse space optimally. Can utilize the warehouse space optimally. Right. Can reduce the damages and reduce the cost at warehouse. Can reduce the damages and reduce the cost at warehouse. Cost at warehouse. Another one, can increase the efficiency within the warehouse. Can increase the efficiency within the warehouse. Efficiency. So all the possible answers, but we wrote almost 6 or 7. Right. Question number 20. Question number 20. State 2 ways each how the crisis condition prevailed in the transportation field of Sri Lanka affect the business and consumer parties. Right. So you have to write 2 ways how this transportation crisis will impact for the businesses and for the customers. First of all, we write the businesses. The businesses only for each category we have to write 2. Business order dekai, consumer order dekai. Students do not misunderstand. One for business and one for consumers you have to write 2 points each of these. මේ බලන්න state 2 ways each. මේ දෙන්නට මේ දෙක දෙක වෙනම ලියන්න ඕනේ. Clear right? අපි ලියමු. Transport crisis එකක් ආපුවම ළමයි මොකද කොහොමද business වලට impact එන්නේ? Yes, it will increase the transportation cost of the business and will increase the product price as well. එහෙනම් අපි ලියමු first point for the businesses topic එකක් දාලා first point. Increase the transportation cost and thereby increase the transportation cost and thereby increase the transportation cost and thereby increase and thereby increase the price of the goods. 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 Yes, next one, next question. What is the next question? Sorry, the next point. But yes, it may impact for the passenger transport as well. So as a result of that, the businesses may not be able to bring the employees on time for work. Then distribute කරන්න ගියම ප්‍රශ්නයක් එනවා වගේම පුතා passengers ලා transporting වලට ප්‍රශ්නයක් එනවා. As a result of that, the businesses may not be able to bring their employees on time. Clear that could be a problem. එහෙනම් අපි ඒකත් ලියමු. Delays can happen when arriving the employees to work. Delays can happen when arriving the employees to work. Delays can happen when arriving the employees to work. But this question make it 2023 කියලා වැටලා තියෙනවා, but it should be 2022. එක පොඩි mistake එකක්, it should be from 2022. Clear? So make it it is from 2022. I think in your tute, so tute I don't have the tute on my hand now. Yes, it's there. According to the tute, it's I think correct. වාගේ question මම group එකට දාලා තියෙන එකේ. Yes, according to the tute, it's correct. It's correct. It's correct. So this should be 2022. And also the previous one, previous one got 2022. Clear? Next question onwards, we have the 2023. Question number 21 onwards, 2023. I think no matter. Anyway, the question is nothing wrong with the question, just the year, right? Right. Okay. Another point. When there's a crisis in the transportation, the damages of the goods and the expiration of the goods can happen more. More and more expirations of the goods can happen. That could be a loss for the businesses. Problems can arise same for the businesses. Business just asking 3. Problems can happen when transporting goods. And losses may occur. Clear? One more point. Delays in arriving the raw materials. Delays in arriving raw materials, and it could lead for delays in production. Prices එකක් තියෙනවා අපිට raw material supply එකත් වෙලා delay වෙනවා. ඒකෙන් production delay එකක් එන්න පුළුවන්. Delays in arriving raw materials, and it could lead for Delays in production. Right. So this is how the crisis can impact for the businesses. Now, how it can impact for the customers? Consumers claim for consumers. For consumers. මොකද වෙන්නේ consumers? Yes, definitely when the price of the goods are going up, their living cost will also increase. Increase of living cost. Increase of living cost. Due to the transportation cost එක වැඩි වෙනකොට business කරන කට්ටිය මොකද වෙන්නේ? goods වල prices වැඩි කරනවා. As a result of that, consumers have to pay more money to buy those goods, so the living cost will increase. And I believe living cost increase or the increase of living cost. Difficulties of traveling to the market. Market එකට යන්න නේ බඩු ගන්න යන්න ඒකට problems එන්න පුළුවන්. Difficulties to travel to the market. Difficulties to travel to the market. Next one. One more point තව එකක් ලියමු. Difficulties to travel to the market. Delays on receiving goods. Delays on receiving goods. බඩු එන්න ටිකක් පරක් වෙනවානේ. දැන් අපි delivery එකක් දැම්මොත් එහෙම delivery එක complete වෙන්න ටිකක් time එකක් යන්න පුළුවන්. Delays in receiving goods. Delays in receiving goods. Clear? So those are the impacts for both the ends. හරිනේ, right. Question number 21. 21 onwards, it's 2023. හරිනේ, ඒක පොඩ්ඩක් adjust කරගන්න ළමයි. Right. Outsourcing electronic commerce service by a company is called as blank logistic, whereas returning goods from customers back to a seller is called as blank logistic. පුතා මෙතන මේ logistic දෙක මොකක්ද? Definitely this is reverse logistic නේ. මේ මොන logistic ද? Always outsource කියන word එක ආව මොන logistic ද? Third party logistic නේ. එහෙනම් මෙතන first answer should be third party logistic. I am not going to write third party logistic the first answer. Second answer is what? Reverse logistic. Very familiar නේ. Our familiar. මේ වගේම question එකක් තමයි. Definitely they will not test much question, new questions. They will test the same. question එක තමයි අහන්නේ නේ. අපි අර theory එකේ පොඩ්ඩක් අලුත් updates ටිකක් කතා කරා. You have to watch them as well. Which are not exactly the same theories. Same theories නෙමෙයි. Good. Right. Clear? First answer, third party logistic. Third party කියලා විතරක් ලියුවා නම් enough නේ. Third party විතරක් ලියුවා නම් ඇති පුතා. Fine. And this is reverse. Reverse කියලා word එක ලියුවා නැති logistic word is almost there. Right. අපි ලියමු. Next question. Question number 22. Write 4 advantages of containerization for the transportation of goods. Containerization means now you are packing or you are loading your goods into containers. What are the advantages you can get? Yes, first one is what? It provides a safety for the goods. Increase the safety of goods. Containers වලින් මේ transportation කරනකොට නැත්නම් containers වලින් අපි goods transport කරනකොට මොකක්ද safety එකක් තියෙනවානේ. It provides the safety for the goods. Increase the safety of the goods. Next one. What is the next one? It is really easy to handle නේ. දැන් ළමයි ඔක්කොම items ටික container එකේ දාපුවාම when we are moving the container, all the items we can move at once. Easy to handle. Easy to handle. Easy to handle or ease of handling. Easy to handle or ease of handling. Ease of handling. Right, next one. Easy to transport one place to another place. Easy to transport from one place to another place. ලේසිනේ. මෙතන නම් අතල්ලා ගෙන ටක් ගාලා box එක උස්සන් ගියා තිබ්බා. එච්චර. Easy to transport from one place to another place. Right. Another one. තව එකක් ලියමු. Now, have you seen there are different kinds of containers which can use depend on the nature of the good. There are some freezer containers as well. සමහර ඒවා පුතා දැකලා තියෙනවා බාහිර යනකොට පොඩක් බානේ containers වල අර මේ freeze එකක් තියෙන containers තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ box එක freeze එකක්. ඒකේ අර එළියෙන් බලව පුතා අර වෙනම fan එකක් වගේ කැරගෙනවා පේනවා. Those are freezer containers. So that kind of things can different kinds of containers can be used depend on the nature or the type of the goods. That is also another advantage. Can use different kinds of containers. 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 According to the nature of the good. According to the nature of the goods. According to the nature of the goods. Right. පුතා මෙතනදී මේ containers කියන එක mean කරන්නේ is not the container boxes we are the same container boxes we are seeing at the road. අර පාරේ තියෙන දිග container box එක විතරක්ම නෙමෙයි. ඒකත් include there are some other containers as well. Container means a kind of a storage where our goods can be stored නේ box එකක් වගේ ඕනම එකකට අපි container එකක් කියලා කියනවා but the common container or the container to with which we are really familiar is what the container we are seeing in the road. ඒතර ඒක තමයි example එක විදිහට ගත්තේ but anyway it does not mean that container only. Container, the term container is using for whatever the box or a kind of a large thing we are using to put our goods in. නේ අර සාමාන්‍ය ලොකු plastic boxes වලට අපි කියන්නේ container එකක් කියලා නේ. So that can be but anyway අර simple මම use කරේ අර meaning එක අපි familiar හින්දා clear නැත්නම් it does not mean the අර container එකම නෙමෙයි ඒක විතරක්ම නෙමෙයි ඒකත් one kind of a container, right? Question number 23 we'll move. Briefly explain the difference between the transport and logistics. My transport means what? Are you definition එක දන්න ඕනේ? Transport means what? Yes, transport is moving goods and passengers from one place to another place is what you call as transportation. Logistic means what? Logistic means it is the process of flowing goods, services and information from the manufacturer to the customer and from the supplier to the manufacturer. So all these the entire process is what you call as yes logistic. Logistic definition එකයි transportation definition එකයි what we have learned in our theories. You just have to write those two. That is the answer expected from you. Clear තමයි අපි ලියමු. Transportation is moving goods and passengers. Transportation is moving goods and passengers from one place to another place. 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 Whereas logistic is the process. Logistic is the process. Logistic is the process of. Logistic is the process of planning and implementing. Planning and implementing. Logistic is the process of planning and implementing. Flow of goods, services, and information forward and backward from the point of origin to the point of consumption, to the point of consumption, from the point of origin to the point of consumption, to the point of consumption. Effectively and efficiently, to fulfill customer needs and wants. To fulfill customer needs and wants. Effectively and efficiently to fulfill customer needs and wants. Clear that? So those two definitions were expected to write as the answer for this question. Right. Question number 24. Question number 24. State two factors to be considered in deciding warehouse for storing industrial chemicals. Lama industrial chemicals store karanna when we are deciding the warehouse, what are the things we have to think? Clear. The first thing is what? Safety. Safety because these are chemicals. Safety is the first thing you have to think because it can get leaked to the outside, and because the chemicals can be kind of a thing, it can be toxic for animals and the human. You have to think about the safety as well. In our first point. Safety of storing the chemicals. 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 Two factors they ask, and we'll write some more. Safety of storing the chemicals. Next one. The legal requirements. There may be some legal requirements when you are using these kinds of chemicals, and there should be a way of storing, which may have been declared by the government or the authorized party. So there could be some legal requirements we have to fulfill. So you have to think about that as well. Then the second point, legal requirements. Legal requirements. Legal requirements. Right. Another one. Disposing the items. Then we have dispose that is also one way you have to think. Disposing the items. Disposing the items with minimum effect to the environment. With minimum effect to the environment. With minimum effect to the environment. Disposing the item with the minimum effect to the environment. Right. What else you have to think? Some more? Yes. One way you have to have a contingent plan. Contingent plan follow in an emergency situation. The chemicals it can get fired. Some chemicals are highly inflammable. Inflammable. It can highly inflammable. So in that case, you need to have a contingent plan or a way to handle this kind of situation. So you need to have different equipments and the contingent plan in a situation where you have to follow in an emergency, during an emergency. Clear that, right? Contingent plan and the equipment. Contingent plan and the equipments to face in an emergency situation. In an emergency situation. To face in an emergency situation. Right, point relevant temperature and the safety of employees, relevant temperature and the safety of employees. Employees like safety එකත් බලන්න ඕනේ. Employees ලට මේවා touch කරද්දි gloves දෙන්න ඕනේ වගේ ඒ පැත්ත හිතන්න ඕනේ. Also there's a temperature. Some chemicals there should be in a cold environment because otherwise it can get fired or it can get inflamed. ගිනි ගන්න පුළුවන් අර ටිකක් temperature එක වැඩි වෙනකොට temperature එක අඩු කරලා තියන්න වෙනවා ඒ වගේ. Temperature and the safety of the employees. Clear the right. So those are the factors with the right. They're asking to, we wrote almost 5 again, right? Next question, yes, question number 25. Which aspect of logistic involves the process of moving goods from customer back to the seller for recycling purpose? We have learned this. What is that? Recycling purpose. Even for the recycling purpose, if we are returning the goods back to the manufacturer or to the seller, that is what you call the reverse logistics. So the fourth answer is the correct answer, reverse logistic. I'm not going to write it. Fourth answer is the correct answer. Fourth one. Question number 26. Explain multimodal transport with an example. Right. Multimodal transport can yes, multimodal transport means we are using different kinds of transport modes for transporting our goods and services. For an example, let's say when we are manufacturing kinds of things and we are exporting. So sometimes we may have to use the train, and sometimes we are using the lorries to transport to the ports. And thereafter, to export the items to other countries, we are using the ships and the airplanes or the aircraft. Clear? So we are using different kinds of transportations for the same, to distribute the same good to the final customer. Such situations are what you call as multimodal transport systems. Clear? Example multimodal transports. Yes, using different types of transport modes, using different types of transport modes, using different types of transport modes using different types of transport modes to transport the goods of one transporter. One transporter. Or one manufacturer. That's all right. Right. Examples. Using trains and road transport. Using trains and road transport to deliver the goods up to ports. to deliver the goods up to port, and using sea transportation and air transportation, to export the goods to the other country. So you can see different transport methods have been used to transport the same set of goods. So that is what you call the multimodal transports. Clear now? Is that understood right? We'll move to the next question. Question number 27. The entire process of moving, storing and distributing goods is called as what? Purchase, transportation, logistic, procurement, distribution. Yes, entire process of moving, storing and distributing, all the things, not the warehousing part only. The moving, storing, distributing, everything is what you call as logistic. The third answer is the correct answer. Logistic. Third answer is the correct answer. Clear, Nilama? All right. So far, is that all right? So we just have another few questions. So we will quickly do them and finish it off. Is any questions you have? Let me know by the chat. Chat එක දාලා මොන questions තියෙනවා. Right. Okay. So we'll move to the next question. Question number 28. Right. Name 4 parties involved in supply chain of automobile business. Automobile business එකේ ඉන්න supply chain එකේ ඉන්න කවුද ඉන්නේ? Yes. We'll write. Who are they? Suppliers are there. Also the distributors are there. So the first one අපි ලියමු. The component and material suppliers. So this was tested in 2025. 2025 වල test කරපු එකක් තමයි. Last year. Component and material suppliers. Then manufacturers. The entire process එක ඇතුලේ ඉන්නේ කවුද කියලා අහන්නේ. Manufacturers. Then the distributors in the outbound part, there are distributors. And finally, end of the process, who is there? Customers. So suppliers, manufacturers, distributors, and customers are the 4 parties. This is okay for whatever the product, not only for the automobile business. Right. Next one. Right. W is missing. Right. 2 advantages of using digital technology in logistics for businesses. So what are the advantages you can enjoy when you are using digital technology for logistics? Yes, you can get the accurately handle these things. Logistic activities you can accurately handle when you are using the digital technology. So we'll write, can handle the logistic activities more efficiently and accurately. Can handle the logistic activities more efficiently and accurately. Right. Reduce the cost of logistic activities. Reduce the cost of logistic activities. Now when it says logistic, logistic includes all 3 things. Receiving the materials, which is the supply of materials, then storing and also distributing. All 3 are included. reduce the cost of logistic activities, then increase the efficiency of logistic activities, increase the efficiency of logistic activities. Next one, saving the time save, So when you are using a digital technology, it saves your times as well. Easy for controlling, easy for controlling, easy for controlling, easy for controlling. Just you have been asked to write two things. අපි ලියමු හතරක් විතර ලියමු. තව එකක් ලියමු. One more. All logistic activities will flow smoothly. All logistic activities will flow smoothly. Smoothly lamai flow වෙනවා. When you are using the digital technology for logistic activities. All right, Ned, right. We'll move to the next question. Question number 30. There were almost nearly 5 questions had been tested in 2025. I told you almost nearly 12 marks again test kala thina 2025 so I don't think you will get that much of marks in 2026, but anyway definitely you will get around 4 to 6 marks you will get. ඇතිලා මේ questions ටික කරලා theory මොනවත් නැතුව මේ questions ටික ළමයා කරලා ගිය සමහරකට මේවයිම තමයි අහලා තියෙන්නේ. මේවයිම this can be repeated again and again. clear මේව ටිකෙම ආයෙ අහන්න පුළුවන්. මේ ටික බලාගෙන ගියත් ඇති. නේ? Right, okay. But name 2 instances where the certain products must be delivered to the customer quick and fast. Lamai, there are some kinds of products. Those are essential to deliver to the customer without any time delays, which means we have to quickly and fast deliver is required. What are these kinds of products? Types of products when yes, the products which are highly perishable, perishable items again there are the fish or the food items. You can't take much time for delivering. So you have to deliver these products as soon as possible. In the first point, name 2 instances where the certain products must be delivered. First instance, when delivering highly perishable products, when delivering highly perishable products, when delivering highly perishable products. On examples, food items. Usually not the dry food items, dry food items, other items. Dry food I think highly perishable. Right, okay. What else? What else? What else? Emergent medicines. Emergent medicines. There are some medicines you need to deliver them as quick as possible. Why? To that level, it is very urgent. Urgent medicine. Urgent medicines. Urgent medicines. Another one, urgent documents. Sometimes urgent documents you have to deliver. Urgent documents or urgent information, even you can say. Urgent documents or urgent information. Urgent documents or urgent information. Another one, make dekai yahan api tawa ekak liyamu. Goods to be delivered. Next point එක ලියන්න. Goods to be delivered. Goods to be delivered where there is a shortage in the market. Goods to be delivered where there is a shortage in the market. Then goods වල ළමයි මොකක්ද shortage එකක් තියෙන වෙලාවක් හිතන්නකෝ. එතකොට ළමයි as soon as possible should not we deliver these items? Yes. For an example, let's say there's a huge shortage in rice. rice market rice lamai shortage එකක් තියෙනවා. So the government has imported rice from another country. So should we not distribute these rice as soon as possible to the market? Yes නේ අන්නේ situation එක තමයි finally කිව්වේ. Clear then? Goods to be delivered in a situation where there's a shortage of goods. දෙකයි අහන්නේ අපි ලිව්වා හතරක්. Right, good. We'll move to the next question. Question number 31. State 4 benefits of automated storage system for a business. ළමයි මොකද්ද? ඒ automated ඔය digital කියපු කාලේ මොනවාද? ඕනම තැනකදීම automated digital ඔය වගේ නිකන් new technology වගේ scene එකක් තිබ්බොත් two answers වලට ටක් ගාලා ලියන්න පුළුවන්. මොකද reduce the cost. එහෙනම් first one reduce the cost. Reduce the cost. ඕන එකක බලන්න තෝලියලා reduce the cost. නේ ඊළඟට තාම මොකද්ද? Increase what? Efficiency. Increase the efficiency. Increase the efficiency. Increase the efficiency. ඊළඟට easy to control. Easy to control. Easy to control. Easy to control. Saving the time. Saving the time. Automated කතා ඔක්කොටම ලියන්න පුළුවන්. Digital systems. Saving the time. ඔය පොඩ්ඩක් ඉතින් හිතන්න ඕනේ ළමයි. Sometimes ඔක වාට වෙන මොකක් හරි relevantly දුන්නොත් එහෙම you have to think and write. Saving the time. Reduce the wastages and damages. Reduce the wastages and damages. Automated storage කියන්නේ මොනවද කියලා අපි ඉගෙන ගත්තා when we are learning the theories. Right, final question, question number 32. Write two advantages an importer can obtain through containerization in transportation. ළමයි මේකත් අපි කලින් කතා කර containers use කරනකොට මොකක්ද තියෙන advantages? First one, ලියමු. Write two advantages අපි ලිව්වා. Safe for the goods, safe for the goods. Easy to transport the goods. Easy to handle the goods. Can use different kinds of containers according to the nature of the product or nature of the good. We wrote the same things in one of the previous questions as well. Safe for the goods, then easy to handle the goods, easy to transport the goods, and can use different kinds of containers according to the nature of the good. So that is then only my question. 32 questions had been tested over last 11 years. Over last 11 years, 32 questions had been tested from the transportation and logistic lesson. So you can do this one more time. Most probably, Lama, you will get a question from these things again at your exam even. Right, okay. So that is the end. Right. So if you have any questions, okay, fine. Yes, the tute is available in the group. Group yes, so you can get fine. So if there's no any other questions, we will wind up the session. Session wind up. Thank you for participating. Right.